Hi everyone, it's Chrissie and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Chestnut Ridge speed build. But this build is actually the first official one that I'm doing for my save file. So the other builds that I've done in this world already, because I have done a lot of them, I don't know, I like the way they turned out, but a lot of those were still me kind of like experimenting and seeing what I could do and like what would work in this world and all of that stuff. So I didn't necessarily want to put them in my save. But this one is actually one that I really like. I built with my save in mind. I created a family for it and all of that stuff. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about that family in just a second. But yeah, so this build is actually built on the Canter Cottage lot. It's a 30 by 30 lot in the Riders Glen area of the world. The original lot that was on this, or the original build I should say, that was on this lot was a starter home built by Ninster. And yeah, so this is actually going to be it's not a super big lot, obviously. It's only a 30 by 30, so it's not huge or anything like that. But of course, I decided that I needed to put an absolutely obscene amount of Sims and animals on this lot, because why not? I don't know, for some reason I woke up and decided to choose chaos when I was figuring out this family. So yeah, I mean, I did play with this house and this family for a couple of sim days. I think I played with them for maybe like a week or something like that, like in game time. And it's definitely doable. It is definitely doable, but it is absolutely chaotic. And thank goodness that the Sims that I had in mind for this, the parents, thank goodness they are both technically like stay-at-home parents. Even though I figured, you know, they would have a career, but it's not a career in the game, which I'll tell you about in a second. But yeah, so this build, like I said, 30 by 30 lot. I can't remember exactly how much it cost in the end, but we will go in at the end for the tour and I'll take a look at the price for you guys and show you. And if I forget to do that, then I will have the actual correct price in the description, as always. In the description, I always put, you know, the lot type, not the lot type, the lot size, the original lot name, in case you're not sure about where to place it. I always put in how many bedrooms, bathrooms, you know, how many Sims can stay there, and you know how much it costs, and my gallery ID, all of that stuff. That stuff is always in the description. But yeah, so this house I actually ended up building for, like, I have 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, but one of the bedrooms is technically used as storage space at the moment. It is one of the 3 bedrooms upstairs, so there's 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms upstairs, and then downstairs there's kind of like the main parents' bedroom with their ensuite. But yeah, so one of the upstairs bedrooms is actually currently used more as like storage, which will make a little bit more sense once, you know, I tell you more about the family. But yeah, so in my head and in my save, there is going to be 4 Sims living on this lot. So 2 parents, a teenage daughter and a child son. And, you know, the mom is actually pregnant again. She's pregnant with their 3rd child. She's not even showing yet, because in my game, I have all pregnancies paused with MC Command Center in my save file, just to make sure, you know, that as I'm setting stuff up, the townies that I have that are pregnant for like canon, lore and stuff don't end up having their babies like randomly when they're supposed to like still be just pregnant in the save, if that makes sense. But yeah, so she's not even showing yet, so technically in the game she doesn't know that she's pregnant, but we can pretend that she does know. She's just really, really early on. So she's like, maybe like, I don't know how far along you need to be before you usually know that you're expecting. I'm gonna say that she's like maybe 8 weeks or something. So she's very, very early on. But yeah, so they are expecting their 3rd child, which it's gonna be a lot having a baby and an infant on this lot eventually, because this family also has 2 horses. They have a fully grown mare called Fable, And then Fable, she also has a little foal called Centurion. So there's 2 horses. There's also a dog called Nika, a fully grown, big dog called Nika. Then you also notice that I also did put in an animal shed and a chicken coop because this family does have a cow. They also have, I believe, 4 chickens as well. And then they have 2 goats and 2 sheep as well. So it is an incredibly busy household. I think I have like every single animal that you can have in the game on this lot, apart from a cat. And obviously I don't have a llama because you can only have 1 cow or llama per like animal shed, and there wasn't space for another animal shed. So technically they do have every animal. They have every like conceivable animal. So they have like an inside pet, so they have a dog, they have horses, they have chickens, they have a cow, they have goats, and they have sheep, and they have soon to be 3 children. So yeah, it's a very chaotic household to say the least. But honestly, sometimes I like the chaos in my game. I like playing with this many Sims, and I don't know, usually I find it very overwhelming, but sometimes it's just fun. It's fun to have a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy it as well. And also because I like having big families in my save file, just so that there's a lot of Sims around, and I like trying to make them as like diverse and varied as possible. So both in like ethnicities, but also in like their makeup of the family. So like how many parents they have, how many kids, and like the ages of the kids and personalities, and all of that stuff. So yeah, I try to make this family really, really fun. So obviously we have the parents, which I will talk about in a second, but first off I want to start with the teenage daughter. The teenage daughter Ayana. So she is actually she's the one that mainly rides their like fully grown horse Fable, because she wants to be a championship rider. So she's always loved horses. I believe loving horses is one of her traits, I think, that I gave her. But she's always loved horses. She's always dreamed of being a championship rider. So in my head, she's probably been competing in like shows and competitions since she was a child. Obviously in the game, children I don't think can compete in competitions, but in real life I know that kids can compete because I did when I was younger. So yeah, I mean, in my head she's probably been competing her whole life, and her dad is also really into horses. So he's really into animals, really into horses. In my head he's probably the one that trained her, that taught her how to ride, and like kind of instilled this love for horses and riding into her from a really young age. So her dad, her Khan, is also a horse lover. He loves animals, he loves working on the ranch, and all of that stuff. So in my head, like I said, he is probably a horse trainer. He is probably the one that taught her how to ride, is also teaching their youngest son Glen to ride, and all of that stuff. And he maybe even teaches other people around town to ride as well. So that's the dad. And the teenage daughter, so Ayana is also, she's a perfectionist. So once we get to her room, you'll notice that I am going to try and not clutter it up too much and make it like too messy, because she is a perfectionist. So in my head, she would be very like, that also plays into her like competition side. So she likes winning, and she will train for hours every day to make sure that she can be the best. So yeah, that's the daughter and the dad. But also something before I talk more about the family, I want to mention that you'll notice that my UI is a little bit different. So partway through doing this speed build, I actually came across the dark UI mod, and I decided to install it. So obviously it basically changes all of the UI in the game, all of the user interface stuff, all of the menu stuff, all of the like everything in the game. It basically changes it to a dark mode type of UI. So around like I think 5 almost 6 minutes ish into this video, you'll have noticed my UI changing completely from the regular game UI to this one, and so far I actually really like it. It's obviously taken me some getting used to. Like, you know, I've been playing The Sims 4 for like 9 years, basically, since it came out, and I've never changed up the UI before, so it's taking me some getting used to. But I've noticed that it's a little bit easier on my eyes, not having all of that like bright white, blue, like colored UI all over the place. So I'm really liking it. I will leave it linked down below. The creator, I cannot pronounce their name, so I'm not going to try. But the creator also has a couple of other UI mods, like a pink UI and a purple one, and I believe they're working on a medieval one, so like Sims Medieval inspired basically. But I think that one is still like only partly completed, so some things have been changed to that and some haven't, like converted. But anyway, I'll leave their Patreon link down below. Definitely go ahead, check that out. You can scroll through it even if you're not a patron and like check out all of the info about the mods and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely go ahead and do that. But yeah, so also something, a little like quick little disclaimer that I want to make is that I am recording this during the day with my door partly open. And that's just because I have my cat in my room and he sometimes likes going in and out, and I don't want him to like start scratching at the door when he wants to go out. So I have it open a little bit, and our neighbors are doing construction. So if you guys hear any background noise, I do apologize about that. And then also the baboon watch people. If you guys follow me over on Twitter, you know this, but we have a really big baboon problem where I live. I live like halfway up a mountain. And there's a lot of baboons where I live, like really big, scary ass baboons that come into our yards and knock over our trash bins and, you know, all of that stuff. They're not really safe to be around. So we have a baboon watch that actually come around periodically and basically do like control, if that makes sense. They'll like fire blanks, like those things that kind of like those racing, like the guns that people use to start races. Those guns, they basically just make a lot of noise. So they'll fire them up into the air and stuff to kind of like scare the baboons away from like the residential areas. And they have been around the past couple of days. So if you guys hear any like random bangs in the background, I promise everything is fine. It's just that. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that before I forget and something really loud happened. But yeah, so getting back to the family. So I already told you guys about the teenage daughter, the dad. So we also have the mom, Shawnee, who is an absolute animal lover. She's probably the one that wanted all of the animals. So the dad is obviously very into horses, like I said, and they all love their dog. They all love their dog, Nika. She is like a member of the family, basically. So she doesn't, in their eyes, she doesn't count as a pet. She's like literally a member of the family. But the mom is actually the one that's really into other animals. So the goats and the sheep and even the chickens and the cow to some extent are all kind of like her babies. She's the one that mainly takes care of them. They're like her, I don't want to say responsibility, because in my head and when I was playing with this family, I had everyone help out on the farm and help out on the ranch with the animals and the gardening and all of that stuff. But in my head, you know, the mom is kind of the one that's mainly responsible or like involved with the other animals. And then we have the child, Glen, who is very similar to his mom in that sense. He loves animals. He's really close with their dog. He also really likes the goats and the sheep. And, you know, he likes taking care of them and all of that stuff. But he's also a green fiend. I actually gave him the green fiend trait because I don't think I've ever given a child that eco lifestyle trait. And I don't know, I figured that would make a lot of sense with him growing up on this very, like, I don't know, I kind of want to say like nature-oriented farm. And this very like, I guess, nature-oriented lifestyle as well, with growing up on a farm and doing all of this gardening and fishing. And, you know, he's very into stuff like that. So in my head, you know, he's a green fiend because he wants other people to also take care of the environment. And that's something that his parents definitely teach Like, they've definitely taught their kids that from a very young age. Like, you need to, like, take care of the environment. And I do apologize, my dog just started barking, the bloody idiot. So yeah, sorry if you hear that. But yeah, so that's kind of their kids and the family and all of that stuff. You'll also notice that I did put a really big, like, gardening patch out front. I used a couple of those debug, like, grapevines and put them around, and then I just put a bunch of planter space. My freaking dog, you guys, I don't know why he's barking like that. Yeah, sorry, I can't stop him right now, and I don't want to cut this voiceover and go make him quiet or wait until he's done, so you're just gonna have to put up with it for now. But yeah, so they do have that big gardening space out front as well, and that again I figured is something that the dad would mostly be, like, the mom is more into taking care of the animals and the dad is more into, like, gardening. And you know, he does train horses, like I said, but their horse, the big one, is kind of more of their daughter's responsibility at this point, because she's the one that's mainly riding her, and you know, she's the one that's kind of like training her for competitions and all of that stuff. And then obviously they do have their little foal as well, which I figured would be the son's, would be Callan's, and he's kind of the one that, you know, feeds the little foal, and you know, they're kind of like bonding from a young age, because in my head he really does want to, like, you know, he idolizes his big sister a little bit, in the sense that, you know, he wants to be as good of a rider as she is one day. And you know, he also kind of like wants to do stuff like that, like horse riding and competing and stuff. So maybe their dad, like, when their horse had her little foal, instead of like selling them or like finding another home for them, they decided to keep the little foal and kind of like have Callan bond with it from like a very young age. So they're kind of like growing up together, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the little family. And yeah, like I said, it is very chaotic. They're also, like I said, expecting their third child. So honestly, I cannot imagine what this household would be like with an infant. I mean, a baby is one thing, because they're like a newborn, like newborn. Sorry, I just hit the mic. But yeah, they, you know, they're one thing, but they're still tied to their bassinets. So it's not like you really need to do much apart from like feeding them. Whereas an infant, and even a toddler to some extent, although a toddler can like keep themselves occupied a little bit better, but an infant is a lot of work. But luckily, like I said, you know, both parents are technically stay-at-home parents. In my save, I will probably have them, I don't know, maybe like registered as self-employed, and maybe like give them, I don't know, I'll maybe like give the dad maybe like a horse trainer self-employed career, and then the mom can, I don't know, maybe be like a rancher or something. I'll try and think of what I could, you know, call those careers for them. But yeah, I will do something like that for my save file, just so that, you know, if your Sims ask them what they do for a career, they'll actually have an answer. And also because if your Sims don't have careers already, like if you don't have them registered as self-employed, or actually have them in a like in-game career, and you know, they're just stay-at-home parents, then, you know, sometimes the game, if your game needs someone to like fill in a position at like a vendor, or you know, a bartender or something like that, and you have Sims that don't have careers, the game will just use those Sims for stuff like that. And I don't really want that to happen. I don't want these Sims to randomly turn up in like Willow Creek as a vendor at a food stall, or in San Myshuno as a vendor, or you know, something like that. I don't want that to happen. So yeah, I'm gonna make sure to have them registered as self-employed, because that is just annoying. I've even started doing that when I want my Sims to just be stay-at-home parents. I will actually have them registered as a I'll have them register as a stay-at-home parent, just so that the game thinks that they do have a job. Because, you know, in real life, if you're a stay-at-home parent and people ask you about it, you know, you'll say, I'm a stay-at-home parent. But you won't randomly decide to pick up and go to a completely different, like, city to be a bartender for one night. Like, you know, that's just, it does not make sense. So I have been trying to do that as much as possible. Now, that is basically everything I have to tell you guys about this build. I mean, you'll notice that we have obviously moved on into the interior. I don't usually have a lot to say about interiors or furnishing when I actually do it, because you guys can literally see it on the screen. So yeah, I don't know how much you want me to say about this build, apart from the fact that no, it's not pack restricted, because obviously it's for my save file, so it's not pack restricted, but it doesn't have any custom content in it at all. So if you do want to download it from the gallery, I will have, like I said, all of the download information, direct gallery link, as well as the tray files, you know, all of that stuff, all linked in the description. Tray files are only up for channel members for the first 3 weeks, but after that they go up for everyone on my Tumblr, which again, always linked in the description. If there are a couple of my older builds that you guys maybe missed from more than like 3 weeks ago or whatever, and you know, maybe you want the tray files for those and you don't want to go through the community tab and like scroll back forever to try and find them, then just go to my Tumblr and go and see if the tray files for those are already up there, because yeah, I do make a point to update them like as soon as the tray files go live for everyone. I'll always update the Tumblr, so yeah, definitely go ahead, check that out. But yeah, so as far as the rest of this house is concerned, obviously we have the parents' bedroom downstairs. They have their own bathroom, obviously. We also have a really big living room, dining room, kitchen, all of that stuff we've already done, actually. I did cut out all of the bathrooms, but I will show you those all in like the video tour at the end. But then upstairs, we have the teenage daughter's room. She actually also has her own ensuite bathroom. And then we have the son Callan's room, which, you know, he doesn't obviously have an ensuite bathroom, but there's a really big like family bathroom upstairs. And then we have the final bedroom upstairs, which currently is just used as storage. But I did put a lot of like baby and infant stuff in there, like so like there's a changing table, there's a high chair, there's, you know, a little bassinet for like a newborn, there's, you know, a little like almost traveling crib in there as well. So in my head, you know, all of that stuff is stuff from their previous kids, so from when they had Ayana and Callan, and they kind of just saved it, because even though maybe this third child wasn't necessarily planned, they just never wanted to get rid of that stuff, or maybe they just didn't know anyone that would need it, so that they, you know, they couldn't pass it on yet. And luckily they haven't, because, you know, they still have all of their old hand-me-down stuff. So they do have everything that they need for a new baby, but it's just all kind of like crammed into that room. And you guys will see it once we get to it, but a lot of the stuff isn't even really accessible at the moment, because yeah, I did want to make it look like it's literally just a storage space at the moment. So there's even a sized down dog bed in there, because I figured, you know, maybe that was Nika's old dog bed from when she was younger, and they only have the bigger one downstairs in the parents' bedroom now, and they have just the old one stored up there. They have an old play mat and a lot of like old boxes, and I have one of those clothing racks from the new pack as well, with some clothes hanging on it. So maybe those are like their winter clothes that they've just, you know, hung up there, stored up there, that they'll like eventually take down when they need it, or, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically what the third bedroom is going to be, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that little gameplay incentive there, where, you know, if you play with this family and they do end up having their baby, then you will need to go in and kind of like very realistically, you'll need to like clean out that room. You'll need to move stuff around and maybe like decorate as, you know, you wanted to, or like reorganize stuff the way you want to, which is in my head a very realistic thing to do. I mean, if you find out like, you know, recently that you're pregnant, you're like, I don't know, maybe not even like 8 weeks yet, you're not automatically going to have a fully set up nursery like immediately, if that makes sense. You're gonna have like, if you've had kids before, then chances are you have a lot of stuff in storage. But, you know, so like that's very realistic to me. You're not going to necessarily have a fully set up bedroom right away. So yeah, I don't know, I like that touch. Obviously you can renovate that bedroom, you can renovate this house however you want. You don't need to have these Sims living in it. Obviously I will have the Sims up on the gallery as well as soon as I can. I'm still setting up a couple of things with them for my save, but I will have them up on the gallery too, in case you guys just, you know, want to download them, download the build, and like start playing in your own save file, if that makes sense. So yeah, definitely go ahead, keep an eye out on my gallery for that. But yeah, with all of that said, that is basically everything I have to tell you guys about the build and the family and all of that stuff. So I just want to give you guys a quick little, like, I guess, real life update. So for those of you guys that don't really want to hear about real life stuff, feel free to mute me and like maybe turn on some music or whatever until, you know, we hit the tour push portion at the end of the video. I'll also make sure, obviously, to have timestamps for when the tour starts at, you know, the end. So if you just want to, I don't know, like skip ahead to that and skip the rest of the speed build, then obviously feel free to do that. I'm not going to stop you. But I do kind of want to give you guys a little bit of a real life update, because I know not everyone like reads the community tab. I will eventually make a post about this in the community tab and on Discord and Twitter and all of that stuff, but I know not everyone checks those things. So for those of you that only watch my videos, I do just want to mention it in a video. But yeah, so a lot of you know that the past couple of months have been really rough, and I'm not going to go into why all too much, but basically with everything that's happened, it kind of just set my plans for what I had planned for this year, especially save file plans, back a lot, because I've basically lost, like, I don't know, like 4 months, yeah, like 3 or 4 months of like progress basically at this point, that I couldn't focus on save file stuff. I just did not have the time, I didn't have the mental energy, and I just couldn't. I'm only just now getting back into it. But yeah, so basically the second version of my save file is a little bit delayed. I know I said in probably the video that I had up at the beginning of the year, where I shared my first version with you guys, I said that, I don't know, I maybe like wanted to have like 6 months and then have the second one out again. Obviously that's not going to happen. I'm going to try and get it out still maybe this year. I really want to get it out this year. That's one of my biggest goals, but if that doesn't happen, then I'm sorry, but like, I have a lot of stuff going on in real life at the moment. As a lot of you know, I did like apply to kind of like go back to school and actually finish high school, because I never finished high school. I dropped out when I was 16 for like family reasons. So I really want to go back and finish my high school and graduate, so that I have that, at least that qualification behind my name, so that I can get a job outside of YouTube. Because if you don't have that qualification, it's basically impossible to get a job that, you know, that I can do, that I can bring in money, and currently we desperately need that. I know a lot of people don't like talking about money. I'm usually one of those people, but in the spirit of full transparency, because I do try and be as authentic and transparent with you guys as possible, you know, within the bounds of reason, obviously. But yeah, we are struggling. Currently, we lost an entire income in May, and my family is struggling, so I need to try and pick up the slack for that. So I need to go back to school, and that means that I am going to have to start drastically focusing on studying and schoolwork, so that I can write my exams next year in like May, June. So I have an obscene amount of work ahead of me for that, because I haven't even started yet. Obviously, June and July of this year, with all of the horse ranch stuff and the behind the scenes stuff with, you know, being part of building for this pack, and all of the behind the scenes stuff that went into that, and getting everything ready for that. And then obviously, you know, early access for the pack and all of the hype and all of that stuff kind of had to come first for the past like 2 months. But from now on, I am going to have to focus on my studies a lot more, which means that YouTube is going to have to take a back seat a little bit. Honestly, the channel has grown a lot the past couple of months, and your guys' support on the channel, my channel members especially, and everyone else who's just been watching the videos, liking them, and sharing them, commenting on them. You guys have honestly made the past couple of months, I don't know, I don't want to get too sappy, but basically you guys have helped me through a lot of really dark times. And I know I don't say that too often, but I just want to say thank you a lot, because just when I'm having a really bad day, being able to go onto YouTube and just see a nice comment, or, you know, see something like that, honestly, it helps a lot more than you might think. So I do just want to say a huge thank you. And I don't obviously want to step away from YouTube at all, like completely, like I would never do that. But I am going to have to maybe cut back on videos, and I'm going to try and work smart with that, like the expression work smarter not harder, if that makes sense. So I'm going to try and focus more on quality rather than quantity for the next couple of months, until I find my footing, because I'm not used to doing schoolwork anymore. I haven't been in school in like more than 8 years, like almost 10 years at this point. So yeah, it's been a while since I've had to focus on schoolwork, which is going to be hard. But I'll get through it. I will get through it, especially with you guys. I'm not taking a complete step back from YouTube or social media or anything like that. I'm still like on my Discord server, which is always linked in the description. I'm still on Twitter and Threads, and I'll be posting on YouTube and, you know, all of that stuff. But if I have a couple of days where I just disappear or something like that, or if videos are less frequent, maybe like one a week or something for a while, then that is why. But that's just a quick little update for you guys, because yeah, I needed to do it. But yeah, so with all of that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. And there's very rambly voiceover. And yeah, if you did, give the video a like, hit subscribe, all of that fun YouTube stuff. Thank you guys so much for 9,500 subscribers, by the way. That means so much to me. But with all of that said, we're gonna go ahead, jump into the tour, and have a proper look at this house. Okay, so here we are in the game, and I just wanted to show you guys the gallery upload really quickly, because it did end up costing 130,264 simoleons. But yeah, it is up on my gallery in case you guys want to go ahead and download it. I'll probably have it under like small family, like small ranch, big family, or something like that is probably what I'll call it on the gallery. But yeah, this is the finished build, you guys. So as you can see, obviously I mentioned we do have a really big like crop field out the front. I have a lot of grapes up here, but I also have a lot of other berries like blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, choco berries, green beans, like all other kinds of plants as well, not just fruits and stuff. But yeah, we have a lot of plants. We have a little patchy. We have some bees, obviously, because for this I wanted to kind of, I guess, play around with a lot of the other packs that kind of work together with horse ranch. So like cottage living, seasons, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is basically the little front yard. We have a little fire pit, a little swing set. I used a little debug truck because I figured that made sense. And then I did use one of these new ranch archways that you can rename. So I renamed the ranch Blackthorn Ranch because it's the Blackthorn family, and I'm not super creative when it comes to naming stuff. But yeah, so here in the side yard is kind of like the animal space. So we have a little gate that you can lock to keep the horses in at night, keep the goats and the sheep and the chickens and all of that stuff in as well. But yeah, we have a little cow shed, which I think the cow is in there at the moment. But we have a little cow. We have a couple of goats and sheep and chickens. There's the dog as well, by the way. Here's Nika. I did put dog food bowls, like pet food bowls, all over the place. So in here, in the stables, in the house. And then these are the two, I almost said dogs, the two horses. This is little Centurion, the little foal. And then we have Fable, who's obviously the big mare. And I believe they're Hanoverian horses, I think is what I made them. And yeah, please ignore the poo on the lot. This is my actual save file. So yeah, I have been playtesting and setting up the family. So yeah, the horses have left us some surprises. Please ignore that. But yeah, over here we have a little grill space. Not a lot of like people outdoor space in this area. Just a little picnic table, a grill, that's it, because I wanted this to be more of a like pet space, if that makes sense. But going into the stables first, I think. So in the stables we have obviously the 2 beds that I did assign to the horses themselves. So yeah, we have 2 beds for them. We have a couple of feeders as well. And then I did put in another bed because I almost said the horses, but the goats and the sheep, they usually like sleeping on a horse bed. So I did put another one in here for them, or maybe if you want to get another horse or something like that, then you can do it. I also put a little scout board in here because Callan is actually in the scout, so I have that in here. I have the dog pet, like the dog toys, some more pet food, you know, pet treats, all of that stuff. I have a little sink to clean up, a couple of nectar racks as well, because even though I didn't put any nectar making stuff on this lot, I figured, you know, maybe the family buys nectar and they would like storing them. I have a little woodworking bench as well for the dad, which I do think is into making a couple of things every now and then, so they have that. But yeah, that is basically the entire little stables area. Now, out here at the back, we just have the trash cans. I have a little clothesline as well, and then obviously the back door that goes into the kitchen. But let's start at the front, shall we? So obviously we have a little porch, some seating. You come in and you walk into, like, right into the living room. Not living room, dining room. Again, ignore the dirty plates. I've been playtesting, like I said. But yeah, so you have a nice big dining room with a fireplace, you know, a couple of decor items. We have a closet right at the front, you know, for coats and all of that stuff. And then we have a big archway that leads you into the kitchen, which I absolutely love the way this kitchen turned out, by the way. I love the mismatched counters and the cabinets. So like having the green counters and then the darker wood cabinets up this side and then the green ones on this side, like, you know, where the washing machine and the dishwasher, all of that stuff is. I kind of like really like the way that looked. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. But we have a little island with the sink, you know, everything that you would need for a kitchen, obviously. And then going back around this way, we have another archway that leads you into the living room. So I actually use the stand-up piano from Growing Together just because I like the swatches of it. So I wanted something a little bit more colorful for this family. So yeah, we have that standing piano. We have a couple of like trophies, like plaques up here for, I believe maybe this was the dad's trophies that he won when he was younger, or maybe it's, you know, maybe it's Ayana's trophies from when she was a kid and she was competing or stuff like that. But yeah, this is their teenage daughter, Ayana, by the way. So yeah, this is their little living room. Mismatched couches because, I don't know, that just felt like it fit this family. Obviously a lot of bookcases. We have another fireplace, a TV, a little glow bar, some more seating, you know. Like I said, very mismatched, a couple of like older pieces, but I love the way that turned out. It looks so warm and inviting. And then we also have the parents' bedroom downstairs. So this is their bedroom, you know, a little bed for Nika. Obviously, you know, a lot of like older looking wallpapers that I really like. I did this little like almost built-in closet space for them. Instead of using one of the closets from Get Together, I actually decided to just make my own because I really wanted to use these closet pieces from Horse Ranch. So yeah, that is what I did. And then obviously we have those like steamer trunks from the, I believe, yeah, they're from the Werewolves pack. So I use those, you know, some clutter, all of that stuff. And I do use this bundle of like this standing thing of, I don't know what it's called, pottery bowl with sacred medicines a couple of times throughout the build because I did make this family to be like indigenous. I did make them like, I did want them to have like an indigenous heritage. That is, you know, the kind of family that I wanted them to be. So I tried to make that kind of apparent wherever I could. But yeah, I hope you guys like that, which I really like doing that. So yeah, either way, I liked it. But yeah, so this is the parents' bathroom that, like I said, I did cut out. So this is their ensuite. They have just shower tub, you know, double sinks, toilet, very standard, I guess you could say. Now, going upstairs, we have obviously the staircase. We have upstairs This is the mom, Shawnee, by the way. She's up here on the computer. But yeah, we have a little desk space over here. So I just wanted them to have at least one family computer. So yeah, they do have that, and just some storage, a couple of more older looking things, all of that stuff. Then over here, right as you come up the stairs, is where I actually put the main like family bathroom, kind of like the kid bathroom at this point, since Callan is usually the only one that uses this place. So it's very colorful. It's very much like maybe his parents allowed him to like pick the bath mats and stuff like that. So yeah, we have a little bathroom up here for like family use. Coming over this side though, this is obviously Ayana's bedroom that we did, the teenager's room, which I really like. I love the kind of like semi-boho inspired vibes with a couple of the items, like the sofa and the bed and stuff like that. And I don't know, I just really like the way it turned out. I love the colors in here as well, with those like sea green blues and the purple and pink, and I don't know, I really like the way it turned out. Again, a couple of trophies that I figured she might have won. And yeah, just her desk, you know, all of that stuff. I tried not to clutter it up too much. And then she also, like I said, has her own ensuite, but this one only has a bathtub because the way the window was placed, that's the only thing that I could make work. So yeah, she just has a bathtub and a toilet, sink, you know, all of that stuff. It's very purple in there as well because that is one of her favorite colors. And then right across here is actually Callan's bedroom. So the son's bedroom, we have his little desk, we have a little bunk bed for him, which I absolutely love. I haven't used this swatch of the bunk bed yet, this green and orange like horsey one. So yeah, I really like that, and I wanted to make it look a lot more messy because he is a little bit more messy. I mean, he's a kid, so yeah, he's very messy. He has a lot of toys everywhere, he has a lot of like art supplies everywhere, and yeah, he is just, he's very messy. He's a child, so he doesn't really care about having a very neat and tidy room. So yeah, I made it very messy, very cluttered. I used a new doll's house that I did size down a little bit because I needed to. It was just way too big. And all of these bedrooms upstairs as well have their own closets, like built-in get-together closets. So yeah, that's his bedroom. And then this is obviously the last bedroom that I told you guys was a little bit more like a storage room. So we have, you know, stuff that I figured, you know, looks like, you know, boxes of storage items, like old toy boxes and other storage boxes, you know, things shoved into the corner and at weird angles and stacked on top of each other, you know, stuff like that. I wanted it to make it look like, you know, this definitely is just a storage room until they reach a point where they need it for the new baby, and they'll probably like clear it out obviously and decorate it and, you know, all of that stuff. But yeah, that is basically the build, you guys. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick little, like, you know, I guess floor plan view of it. This is the top, obviously with the grid, all of that stuff, and then the first floor as well. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, you can see a couple more of the Sims out front right now, and yeah, just see everything working and, you know, running. But I hope you guys enjoyed this build. Like I said, if you did, give the video a like. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to see more Sims content, feel free to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell as well to be notified of whenever I upload a new video. But yeah, if you guys have any other build suggestions or anything like that that you would like to see me build, then definitely feel free to go ahead and let me know. I have gotten a couple of suggestions for builds and I have written them down, and I'm planning to do a couple of them, or like at least start on building a couple of them this week. So yeah, like I mentioned in the voiceover, it's just videos are going to be a little bit more sporadic for the next couple of months. But I do write all of your suggestions down, so if you have a suggestion, let me know. I would love to hear it. And yeah, leave me all of your comments and all of that stuff in the description below. And yeah, hope you're all having a great day and a great week, and I'll talk to you all in my very next video. Bye everyone.